Alright folks, I just want to do a video here about how to choose an EDC knife. And the reason I'm doing the video is that from time to time I get asked via PM or comment on a video, or just like buddies in real life will say, hey, well, how do I want to get a knife, and what should I be looking for, and what can I get? And well, the answer is pretty complicated. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover what my thoughts are on it. And keep in mind, I'm just an internet expert. I'm not a real life expert. And, you need to make your own decisions. But what I want to do is I just want to talk about a couple of decision points that we're going to make along the way when trying to pick out a new EDC knife. But before we get started, I want to make sure my hydration requirements are met. So I'm going to take a little sip of this Miller Lite. Alright, so first, when somebody says, hey, I want to think about getting an EDC knife, I want to carry a knife, what should I be looking for? The first thing I ask them, I say is, well, what's your budget? What are you looking to spend? What kind of price are you looking to pay? And there's a lot of different things that are out there in the market that would drive this decision. So, one of the first questions is, are you looking for a value or a budget type blade? Like this is a Spyderco Bird. I believe this is called a Meadowlark, and it is partially serrated. I think I paid $15 for that knife, and it's a great knife. Whenever I travel anywhere, a lot of times that goes in a suitcase, so I don't have to worry about anybody taking it. The other thing is that maybe you want to get yourself a knife that is a little bit more expensive, like a Kershaw. Cryo, I believe, is what that knife is. About $40. Maybe that's the price range that you're looking for. Maybe you're looking a little bit, higher up, and then you might want to get like a Spyderco Endura, about $65 knife. And it goes up and up and up. I mean, you can start to look at spending $160 on a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 with specialized steel, or you could, go all the way up into something like a Strider. So there's lots of different knives that are good quality knives and will probably meet somebody's needs throughout the whole spectrum of budget. I mean, you could really spend $15 to $500 and get yourself a good knife. So cost is probably the biggest determining factor as to what you're going to try to steer somebody into, or recommend for somebody, or look at for yourself. And then the second piece is that what are you trying to do with it? What is the use case? What are you going to use a knife for? And believe it or not, the biggest driver that I've seen with people looking to buy knives, and myself included, is that does it look cool? People are always like, well, I want a cool looking knife. I cannot find my blue Delica. We can take a quick look at this pink Delica. And I think the Spyderco Delica is the best choice for somebody looking to get an EDC knife. It's compact, it's lightweight, has a great traction plan, it's made of quality steel. We'll talk about that knife a little bit as we go. But a lot of people are like, well, it doesn't look cool, I don't like Spydercos, the hole's big, the handle's not cool, I went tactical G10. And so really, I think that looks drive most knife purchases. But you really should think about, what are you going to use a knife for? You're going to be cutting rope, opening boxes, you have to cut floor tiles, you're going to be cutting roof shingles. I think that in a lot of cases, the best tool for cutting boxes open is a box cutter. And, I think that there's utility knives for cutting wires, cords, ropes, and floor tile, for example. So it usually goes back to, does it look cool? And then maybe you're going to carve, maybe you're going to do food prep, maybe you want a hiking or a camp knife. Maybe you need a knife that is like a wilderness knife, or a wilderness blade, or camping, hiking, something like that. So you really got to figure that out. What are you going to do with the knife? So we go cost, then use. What are you going to use it for? And then you got to kind of talk about, the experience level of the person. Like, have you carried a knife before? Do you know how knives work? Can you sharpen a knife? Can you clean a knife? Can you disassemble a knife if you need to? And so that starts to play a factor. So what is your experience level? I know that I've handed knives, like this Cryo, for example, to people, and they don't know how to close it. they've never seen a frame lock. They don't know how it works. And this one actually is an assisted flipper. So there's different things in there. And maybe somebody doesn't want all those complicated parts, springs inside of it and things like that. Maybe somebody just wants an old school traditional lock back like their dad had or their grandfather had. So you really got to look at, what kind of knives are they used to? What kind of knives have they been around? You don't want to give somebody a knife and have them end up cutting themselves. This is a hilarious story. A buddy of mine said he needed to borrow a knife. And I gave him a frame lock knife. And I said, here you go. And he had it for a few weeks, and I was over his house, and I said, having a couple of beers. And I said, hey, what's up with that knife? Where is it? And he's like, you're never going to believe this. It was upstairs in his underwear drawer, tucked in the back, because he couldn't shut it. He didn't know how to shut the frame lock. So I gave him the knife. He opened it up. And when I handed it to him, I just figured he knew how to work it. And then, he opens it up and he stashed it because he didn't want anybody to cut themselves on it. So I made him go and get it, and I showed him how to operate the knife. But it was just kind of funny. Next thing is that you want to start to talk about what's legal for you to carry, in your environment where you live. Is something like this 6-inch cold steel Recon XL, can you carry something like that, or is that going to put you in the hoosegow? Like, you don't want to go to jail just because you got to carry a knife to open up boxes. So you want to think about that. And then we have friends across the pond in the UK, and I'm sure there's places in the US where maybe you got to carry a traditional knife like this because it doesn't have a locking mechanism. This is a 6-blade Stockman. So what's legal for you? Where I live, you can't carry around fixed blades. And so that's crazy, right? Like, so I can't carry this knife because it's so dangerous, but I can carry this knife. The other thing is that, is it okay for you to carry butterfly knives? Maybe that's something that you're interested in or something you want to carry, but, is that considered a gravity knife, or is that illegal where you live? The next thing is, what about automatics? Can you carry automatics where you live? So you kind of got to figure out, what's legal, what are you allowed to carry? And then, we talk a little bit about fixed blade and folders and stuff like that. I'm of the mind, and I know that this is probably a little bit controversial, but here's an SC3. A fixed blade is the best knife that you can carry or use. I believe 100% that a folding knife is a broken knife, and that there is no lock that can compete with a fixed blade. Now, you hear people do reviews on YouTube, you hear knife manufacturers, you see all the time people are like, this lock makes this essentially a fixed blade. Well, if it was a fixed blade, it wouldn't fold in half, period. Any mechanism can fail. And to think otherwise is, well, silly. And so if it was up to me and I could carry any knife, it would be a fixed knife, like that SC3, or maybe like this BHK Bushcrafter or something like that. Even this little teeny SC Kangaroo here. So if you can carry a fixed blade, go ahead and do it. The next thing is you start to talk about blade styles, right? And so, do you want a full flat ground knife? Do you want a saber ground knife? Do you want something that has serrations in it? You may even say to yourself, I need a hawkbill. I need a knife that has a little bit of different blade shape because of what my cutting requirements or use cases are. Maybe you need a karambit for some reason. Who knows what that reason would be, but maybe that's what you need, right? And so you have to talk a little bit about what blade style is going to facilitate the use cases that you're talking about and fit into your budget, fit into your legal requirements, and also meet your experience level. And then the next thing is you got to talk about how you're going to carry this knife. Maybe you can carry a fixed blade, and so you want to look at a neck knife or something like that. I love carrying neck knives. I think it's a perfect carry. I think it's incredibly handy. It's convenient to reach with both hands. It's a fixed blade, so you don't have to worry about the lock failing. Maybe you're going to carry it on a clip like this to your belt, or maybe you're going to go ahead and you're going to carry it in a leather sheath as a dangler. You have to make these decisions as you go ahead to choose or pick your knife. Or maybe you're left-handed or right-handed, so something like this Delica that's got 4-point carry is important to you. Tip up, tip down, right or left hand side. The lock is accessible, whether you're right or left-handed, completely ambidextrous. And then the deployment thumb hole is the exact same configuration for both sides. So you got to consider some of that. Are you left or you right-handed? That'll prohibit your carry. So here's a traditional knife, and people don't think about it like this. I'm a lefty. There's no nail nick there for me, so I actually have to open it upside down, like that, or I have to open it up right-handed. So you have to think about what your carry options are. Are you going to use a sheath? Is it going to be on the belt? Is it going to be on the neck? Is it going to be in your pocket? You know, you got to think about that kind of stuff. And then the next thing is that depending upon how or what you're going to use this knife for, you have to think a little bit about the traction plan of the knife. Does it have adequate grip on the scales? Does it have jimping on the blade for like a thumb ramp or something like that? Does it have jimping on the back of the knife? Is it completely smooth-sided? I mean, this knife is pretty slippery, and I wouldn't call that jimping exactly functional. Then you have to talk a little bit about blade steel. You know, is high carbon steel something that can work? Is it going to rust? Are you going to be in an environment where you need something like H1 that's rust-free, but then you compromise on your ability to sharpen that? Is VG10 cool? 8CR13, AUS8, or some budget-type steels that actually probably meet the requirements of most people and will do a fine job. You don't need to have anything more complex or complicated than that. And then the probably single most important thing when buying a knife is you need to determine how many likes that's going to get you on Instagram. And that's always the driving factor. So anyhow, I just wanted to put those consideration points out there. Things that people need to think about when they're looking to buy a knife. And that way you can make a decision based off of what you want and what you need, and you don't end up with a pile of knives like this. Anyhow, that's it, folks. Thanks.